To the casual observer, an anthill is nothing more than a minor backyard nuisance, a disorganized pile of loose sand and discarded dirt easily swept away by a passing boot. But step across that tiny threshold, and you enter the upper ventilation port of a massive, hyper-industrialized, subterranean supercity. Beneath the surface lies a masterclass in structural engineering, fluid dynamics, and thermodynamics that rivals the design of modern human skyscrapers. An established ant colony does not dig blindly into the earth. Instead, they execute a highly calculated urban planning blueprint that can plunge over 10 feet straight down into the subsoil. This massive architectural network features hundreds of specialized chambers connected by a complex web of precise transit tunnels, housing a highly organized population of millions of individuals working in absolute pitch-black darkness. The external mound itself functions as the primary engine for the city's complex life support network. Built with precise geometry, the mound acts as a passive solar chimney. By manipulating the angle, height, and porosity of the loose soil walls, the ants utilize the ambient wind blowing across the yard to generate a powerful physical vacuum effect, drawing fresh oxygen deep into the lowest chambers. Without this advanced passive ventilation network, a subterranean colony would suffocate within hours. Millions of breathing insects respire continuously, generating massive amounts of toxic carbon dioxide. To combat this, structural engineers build specialized, wide-diameter vertical highway shafts that act as massive exhaust vents, generating solar-powered convection currents that constantly flush stale air out of the nest. Just below the surface mound lie the colony's primary thermal collection chambers. These horizontal spaces are designed to absorb and store the radiating warmth of the sun during the peak afternoon hours. Worker ants utilize these specific zones as temporary staging areas, absorbing the heat into their chitinous bodies before moving back down into the colder depths to warm the lower sectors. Navigating miles of dark, looping tunnels requires an airtight tracking system. Ants manage this spatial mapping entirely through chemical orientation. By utilizing specialized scent glands, they print distinct, multi-layered pheromone trails directly onto the earthen highway floors. These invisible chemical lanes dictate speed limits, specify directional flows, and mark critical transit intersections to prevent gridlock. Deep within the structural heart of the city sits the royal chamber, positioned in the absolute safest, most heavily insulated zone of the entire subterranean layout. This room houses the queen. The surrounding walls are reinforced with a specialized mixture of ant saliva and fine clay, forming a highly durable organic concrete shell designed to withstand massive external pressure and flooding events. Directly adjacent to the royal suite are the highly sensitive nursery chambers. The microclimate inside these rooms must be regulated with mathematical precision. If the temperature shifts by even a single degree, the development of the larvae could fail. Nurse ants manage this threat by constantly moving the entire brood up and down the vertical shaft network, tracking the ideal thermal bands hour by hour. To feed a city of millions, some advanced species incorporate agricultural zones directly into their civil architecture. These massive farming chambers require specialized moisture engineering. The ants dig deep down to intercept the local water table, creating vertical moisture siphons that keep the air humidity locked at a perfect 99%, creating the exact ecosystem needed to cultivate their critical fungal crops. Civil sanitation is highly critical to preventing catastrophic disease outbreaks within the dense subterranean population. To handle this threat, architects designate specific, isolated rooms at the absolute lowest boundaries of the nest layout to function as garbage dumps. All biological waste, expired workers, and hazardous molds are transported down to these sealed chambers to protect the main population. The execution of these complex architectural designs is governed by an automated behavioral algorithm known as stigmergy. No single ant holds a master blueprint of the city in its brain. Instead, individual workers react dynamically to changes in the immediate environment. A chemical signal, or a collapse in a tunnel wall, automatically triggers specific, localized repair behaviors, allowing the city to self-assemble cleanly. When torrential rainstorms saturate the backyard turf, the colony's structural integrity is put to the ultimate test. The loose sand structure of the outer mound collapses intentionally, sealing the upper ventilation vents to prevent water from cascading down the main shafts. Meanwhile, the internal horizontal tunnels are engineered with sloped, convex ceilings that shed water away from the primary living quarters. Furthermore, the lowest levels of the shaft architecture feature dedicated drainage sumps. These unlined, vertical pits act as structural safety valves, collecting any excess water that manages to breach the upper perimeters and funneling it deep into the water-permeable subsoil layers long before it can reach the sensitive nurseries or queen suites. The subterranean supercity doesn't stop at the edges of the mound. Radial foraging tunnels branch outward horizontally for dozens of meters just beneath the grass roots. These hidden, protected highways allow thousands of field workers to travel out into the yard, gather massive amounts of food, and return to the safety of the nest core without ever exposing themselves to predators above ground. Defending this massive architectural asset requires a highly specialized military infrastructure. Narrow choke points are intentionally built into the primary entry shafts. If a hostile colony or a predator breaches the outer gates, soldier ants with massive, armored heads deploy to these tactical choke points, blocking the entire tunnel line with their bodies to neutralize the incoming threat vector. As the seasons shift and winter frost locks down the backyard lawn, the city switches into an extreme conservation mode. The ants retreat completely from the upper thermal collection chambers, moving down into the absolute lowest basements, where the deep earth maintains a stable, mild temperature. Here, the population clusters together in a state of semi-dormancy, protected by meters of insulating soil. So the next time you step onto your backyard lawn and spot a tiny mound of sand disrupting your stone path, realize that you aren't just looking at a minor patch of loose dirt. You are standing directly over an advanced organic metropolis. Their internal computational network is actively managing complex airflow vectors, calculating structural loads, and monitoring thermal boundaries in real time. These micro-metropolises function with a level of logistical efficiency that modern human city planners can only dream of achieving. Every single tunnel segment, vertical exhaust shaft, and specialized nursery chamber is a testament to millions of years of automated evolutionary refinement, operating seamlessly right beneath our feet. As you step over the mound and go about your day, the quiet routine of the city below continues uninterrupted. The structural maintenance teams continue clearing out sand grains, the farmers monitor the fungal humidity, and the ventilation shafts continue drawing in fresh oxygen, sustaining a hidden empire that quietly thrives in the shadows of our world. Stay tuned as we continue to break down the fascinating, hidden engineering and advanced survival mechanics of the everyday wildlife thriving right outside your door. The natural world is full of brilliant architecture, waiting to be decoded, one hidden layer at a time.